All right. Welcome, everybody, to another Paradime live stream. In the last 8 live streams, we have been talking about our AI agent, DinoAI, within our code IDE. And we've demonstrated how DinoAI can make your DBT development process more efficient, more fun, I'd say, and all in all, just more effective for you and your team. And today, we're switching from how to do DBT development with DinoAI to how to more efficiently run DBT in production with our tool called Bolt. So our co-founder Fabio is going to do that demonstration, and we also have on the call our other co-founder Kaustov. So Fabio, the floor is yours. And at the end of the demonstration, and really just throughout Fabio's demonstration, feel free to ask questions in the chat, and we will get to them.
Awesome. Thanks, Parker. Let's dive in. Yeah, super excited actually because, as Parker mentioned, we've been talking about a lot of AI things. We have an AI panel here, but today we're also going to touch about AI, but predominantly around orchestrations and how we can use Paradime to do so. So one thing I want to show you is, the first thing I want to do is I want to show you how we can create data pipelines in Paradime. In this case, we're actually going to start from very, very upstream. So what I have is a poetry file. I'm actually using DLT Hub. And what I'm doing is I have a Python script that extracts data from related to Formula One, from one of the openf1.org APIs, which provides bunch of more data points available to us. So what I'm going to do is the first thing is I'm going to go and set up now a Bolt job or a Bolt schedule, which will effectively allows us to fetch data from the API using Python and then load this data into our Snowflake database. So let me go here. These are Bolt interface. I'll click on new schedule. I'll create an empty schedule here. And let's say I'm going to call this DLT Hub demo pipeline. Python 1, let's keep a very long name. Of course, it's loading data from F1 source into Snowflake. I can select my branch and so on, and also, of course, who is the owner. And here's what I'm going to add my command. So I'm going to click on Add Command. I'm going to select Python. So the first thing I want to do is poetry install. This is about installing all the dependencies we have on DLT Hub. And then the other one is actually another Python one, which we're going to use to execute our F1 API pipeline. Now that we added those two, this is where in Paradime, and this is part of the most recent release, we can, of course, choose the schedule trigger types that I want to use. In this case, will be a schedule run. I can set this to run every day at 8 a.m. But now in Paradime, we support time zones. So I can actually run this, let's say, on Los Angeles time, so Pacific. Times are gone where if you're not in London or nearby London, you have to keep translating UTC time zone into your local time zone. So whether now you are in the US or all parts of the world, we support all time zones. So you can just choose whatever works best for you. And now I'm going to set up my notification layer. One of the amazing feature we have in Paradime is around our notification settings that we provide. So we have something called SLA threshold. So here I'm going to say if the pipeline is still running after 15 minutes, I want to make sure that I receive an alert. So while it's running, we can send notifications, say, hey, this is actually not meeting your SLA. And I can set different type of notification for each of the destination I want. So let's say here I'm going to type now Kaustov at Paradime.io. And let's say for Kaustov, we want to send them just failure and SLA. And I can also type, for example, here, I can type another Slack channel if I want to. And here I want to maybe send all three again. So this is how simple it is to set up any pipeline. Right now, we're setting up our Python pipeline in Paradime in there. So I can click on deploy. And this will now deploy our Bolt schedule in here. It's now no runs yet. We can just dive in. And we can use our run button to trigger this right away, so we don't have to wait tomorrow to run this again. And this is where the execution will start In a few seconds, the job will be available to us to inspect the logs as well. And now we can see that we're installing a bunch of dependencies. We're running poetry install, installing all the things we need to make our API calls and ingest the data inside our Snowflake. Oh, might be. Let's see what we have here. Oh, okay. I think I know. I think good. Then we have fallback, but merge happens. Cool. Let's go back to our. So we have another pipeline that we just created earlier. We can go here. We can see this one. We can run it again. I'll just select one of my custom branches. So something we can do in here. I'll type live stream bolt. And let me just redeploy it. And I'll go and run my pipeline again. So this is what we would have expected to run now, which is if I go here, I'll see that I have my console log for all the poetry installation that I ran before. And fundamentally, I also have now my pipeline that is just being executing here just now. So I can see a bunch of data has been already fetched and loaded into our database. So a bunch of tables have basically been created for data around weather and race control and a few other data points that we want to track. Now, the other thing I want to do is about how do we chain both schedules in Paradime? How can we chain them together? How do we can make them run so that on completion on this particular job, we can actually trigger another one there. So I can go back here. Let me go ahead and click on a new schedule. I can go ahead here, and this will be like my on completion run. I can keep everything the same. I can have now a dbt command that will be refreshing my data pipeline. And here is where I can actually choose a different trigger. So I can actually choose on completion. And on completion means that we can make this pipeline, this dbt command trigger on the back of another pipeline being executed. So I can go ahead and select the workspace where the pipeline lives, and I can do this DLT-F1 ingestion. And here's what we can choose in which condition, right? So we might want to say, hey, we want to trigger this pipeline only if the F1 ingestion completed successfully, okay? And of course, we can choose success or fail or both of them, but same notification layer can be implemented for us, and I can go ahead and click on deploy. And now we're just adding, again, another schedule here. And if I go back to my DLT F1 ingestion, what I can do is I can click on the run button. So we'll go through the live execution. Now what we'll see is that the new schedule I've just created, that will be triggered as soon as this one completes. It's a pretty powerful feature to chain various different components of your production jobs so that you have a full chain of processes that are happening with different checkpoints in between. So if you go here, we'll see we again doing the poetry install command, which is all good this time. And then we'll be running our Python ingestion again. And here we are just rerunning this. And now what we'll see is that just after this, we can go back to the auto scheduler. We'll see that that will kick in by using this particular job as a trigger. So we're seeing this being very, very, very useful when you want to build more conditional workflows or workloads for your data pipelines there. So now that this is completed, we'll go back to our schedule here. Okay, this is now kicking in. Just refresh the screen. And we see we have just one starting, and we see the trigger now is DLT F1 ingestion. So in this case, it's not a manual trigger, has not happened on a cron job, but it's actually starting and running on the back of the other schedule that we just started executed there. So we'll see we did a dbt deps command, we'll have a dbt run. And here's where we start embedding additional AI capabilities within the orchestrator as well. So the very first thing we can access now is the summary. So DinoAI is now embedded within Bolt, what it means that we can use DinoAI to summarize our console logs and make them a lot more user-friendly and human readable. So we can see here it's telling us about what kind of commands were executed, which is a dbt run, and what dbt run is actually doing. So think about when you have teammates on call, which they might be less familiar with some of the technicalities behind dbt and some of the logs there. So they can actually understand a lot better and easier what is happening with this run that is failing. It gives us a bit of more information around what was executed and when. But more importantly, it's provide us with an action plan here about, hey, these are the models that had some issues or errored out. And these are a human readable error of what happened and what you should do to resolve that issue. So it's telling, okay, well, there's definitely a column which is invalid. What we should do with first thing is to double check then the column is correctly spelled and it does exist into our source data. The second is around a stage model, and it says that there is an error with some of the syntax there, check for spacing and right formatting. And again, it says that for the intermediate model, we have an invalid identifier. So Chris said where there is an alias that is incorrect in one of the from or join clauses. So double check that before move on, so we can easily validate what might be broken inside that inside the dbt model, and it gives us a final summary. Now, the kind of like natural next step is, well, we need to access this code, right? We need to go ahead and figure out what the SQL actually looks like, what was being executed. So that's where now we have a super quick access to the code itself. So now within the dbt command itself, you can actually click on this deep link, and this will load for us the actual statement that was executed erroring out as well. So it's gonna be super easy to access what SQL is executed, what kind of issue might be was faced there. So we can actually copy and paste this code, go back to the Paradime IDE, figuring out what how to fix it from there forward, create our code, use DinoAI for it as well. So really streamlining that debugging experience from the ground up, so that everything you need is available there. Now, in this is actually a pretty classic scenario where something fails, and we want to make sure that those incidents are tracked and they're managed properly within the team. So one of the pretty exciting things that we have been building Paradime from the ground up very early on is around how we can chain Bolt with third-party applications. So how can we integrate Paradime with different systems? So something we see in one of our templates, so I can just go back to our schedule list and I'll click on the schedule, is that we provide these templates list for Bolt jobs. Anything which relates to dbt is available, as well as elementary and Microsoft Team integration and so on. But the one I want to start talking to you about is about ticketing. So we integrate with Jira, Linear, and Azure DevOps, meaning that we can set up this additional integration so that as soon as a job fails, a Jira ID or a Jira ticket is created, or Linear issues or Azure DevOps work item with metadata about the schedule. So the process of sending notification to Slack or Microsoft Team, but also of creating an appropriate Jira ticket with metadata for somebody to resolve it is available right there within Bolt with no additional toolings or additional setup. It's a simple integration, and I'll show you very quickly how that works. If I go here, let's say I'll take Linear, we just have provide the team name and the API keys, and then on the back of that Paradime with Bolt, we'll start creating Linear issue in case of failure as part of the pipeline. Similar thing happened for the tools, but also we expanded into instance. So if you are using New Relic, PagerDuty, Incident.io, Datadog, Rootly, all these different tools, and you actually want to send this log and additional information through those tools as well, again, it's as simple as just providing the right API key and credentials, and as a result, you can actually go ahead and have all these logs piped into this additional application. Of course, there's reverse ETL. We support high touch and census as part of that, and then also Hex project refreshes in case you need something to use internally. So super quick demo here, but fundamentally, it's super exciting to see how now with Paradime, we can integrate our job scheduling pipelines all the way from using DLT Hub for ingestion, supporting Python in there, as well as running our DBT jobs, using AI to help users debugging our fail jobs so that they can actually get an extra hands when they have to resolve some of those issues, and more importantly, allowing user to schedule and orchestrate their production jobs based on the time zone they're in. So not needing anymore to translate UTC into different time zones, particularly useful for teams in certain areas of the world where they also have like half an hour differences on time, so it makes things a lot more complicated. So, this is all from Bolt on the side. Super excited. You see, there's another button there which is generated using DinoAI. That's something we are cooking also internally. See how we can actually make it even easier to create production jobs in Paradime. But super excited of Bolt and how we're helping team streamlining their orchestration.
Awesome. Fabio, could you shed any light on that top feature that we're building, build a pipeline with DinoAI? Is there any little tidbit we can share?
I will not share too much about it, but I think it's all about, if we think about in the Code IDE, we've been building AI capability to make it easier for people to develop and debug code and create documentation. The next frontier for us is how we can make it even easier for people to schedule and create more and being able to manage complex data pipeline from an orchestration standpoint in using AI, which we are definitely very excited about it.
And our team is working hard on that. And the second that feature is available, we will demonstrate it here.
100%.
So, Fabio, thank you very much for the demonstration. And we will make sure to send this out to anybody that attended. We'll create a blog on it. So anything you missed or didn't fully understand, we will clarify that with some content. So thank you very much for your time. And Fabio, thank you for another demonstration.
That's good. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Marco.